Hello lovelies, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are well and having a fabulous Friday. I recently watched one of my favorite possession films, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and yes, I've seen this a few times, but I finally decided to look back into the real story behind the movie, because as you've noticed when you watch it, it says based on a true story, which it is. On July 1st, 1976, a 23-year-old Anneliese Michel, or Michael, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, died from malnourishment and dehydration. And immediately when I saw the article, I noticed the name change. It's not Emily Rose, it's Anneliese Michel or Michelle, which I thought was interesting. Anneliese was born to a Catholic village of Klingenberg, Germany, which was another surprise for me because I thought this took place in America because that's what it looked like in the film. Her parents, Anna and Joseph, were highly religious, and prior to Anna's marriage to Joseph, she had a daughter from a previous relationship, which is frowned upon in the Catholic faith, especially when they're unwed. Anneliese's older sister, Martha, died at the age of 8 from a surgery that went wrong. But while Martha was still alive, Anna was slowly imposing an idea onto Anneliese to atone for her mother's sins by religious devotion. After Martha's death, Anna became more assertive in pushing Anneliese into religious practices. When Anneliese entered her teens, she started sleeping on bare stone floors to suffer for the sins of homeless drug addicts and other damned souls. At the age of 16, Anneliese started having convulsions, which a neurologist diagnosed as epilepsy, or at that time, grand mal seizures. So according to the diagnosis, symptoms of this disorder include losing consciousness, violent muscle contractions, odd tastes and smells, along with screaming fits. To help with her seizures, she was prescribed a medication called Dilantin, which is different from the film. The film says Gambitrol, which I don't even know if that's a real medication, by the way. And with Dilantin, I don't know if we still use this medication today or if it's become obsolete. Supposedly, after receiving the medication, Anneliese started to see demonic beings and ghostly faces, I should say. And this could be a side effect of the medication. I don't really know what the side effects are of this medication. Upon graduating high school in 1973, Anneliese enrolled at the German University of Würzburg, wanting to become a teacher, which is accurately depicted in the film. Her fellow peers went to parties while she stayed in her room praying in front of pictures of saints. Her peers assumed that Anneliese was just highly religious, which she was. However, her peers didn't know Anneliese was suffering from her growing hallucinations, which became intense, especially during times of prayer. This led to Anneliese becoming very depressed, to the point where she started to self-harm. The anti-seizure medication and mood stabilizers didn't seem to be helping her. An elderly family member who accompanied Anneliese on a pilgrimage suggested demonic possession was behind Anneliese's behavior. The family friend noticed Anneliese smelled terrible, refused to drink holy water, and couldn't walk by a crucifix, which solidified this belief. Now, was the family friend over-exaggerating Anneliese's behavior? Was it really what was going on? Were there other things, that maybe she mistook it for, refusal, or just couldn't walk by a crucifix? Maybe she assumed that was it, or it was just something else entirely. I don't know. I honestly don't know for this. Because again, we only have her account. We don't have Anneliese's. The parish priest examined Anneliese, and he diagnosed her with demonic possession and proposed an exorcism as the solution. Anneliese's parents agreed, but there's no mention of whether or not Anneliese agreed. Now, according to the film, if the possessed does not agree to the exorcism won't work. I don't know if that's true in the Catholic faith. If you are Catholic and you are aware of these intricate details, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious. So, 2 rites of exorcism didn't seem to help. Instead, Anneliese suffered severe episodes of what her family and priests believed to be demonic, in which Anneliese attempted suicide both times. She did eat insects, just like the film, and did try to harm herself on numerous occasions. The 2 priests who were performing the exorcisms were Arnold Renz and Ernst Alt. They recorded their sessions on 43 cassette tapes instead of just 1. The tapes were taken for an investigation. However, one of the priests made a copy and played it during a TV interview, which I found highly unethical. Anneliese went through 67 rites of exorcism over 10 months, which is a lot longer than what we see in the film, and a lot more exorcisms than the 2 that are depicted. I'm going to leave links in the description if you're curious to know more about her condition compared to what was shown in the film. Fair warning, it is pretty graphic what she went through, along with the images and video footage. Now, from my psychology background, I have 2 degrees in psych. I have a bachelor's and I have a master's in psych. From my teachings, like what I was taught, my education, my research, I believe Anneliese did suffer from mental illness, and in those days, psychology was still kind of in its infancy. Kind of like today. I mean, we're still learning about the brain and possible ailments that can occur that cause mental illness, like different mental illnesses. We're also still learning how to treat them in the best possible, like, treatment method for the different mental illnesses. Now, I know with my psychology background, I'm not an expert by any means, but this is just what I think based on my education. There is some evidence that epileptics have an increased risk of schizophrenia, and that could be because seizures can cause brain damage, especially if it's excessive amounts of seizures. The stress her mother put on Anneliese to atone for her sins, I think, contributed to the growing hallucinations and difficulties around religious objects Anneliese was having. She may not have felt worthy or held so much guilt for her mother's I wouldn't say mistake, because I don't see it as a mistake. I would see it more her mother's difficulty in handling what happened, that it just tore her apart. Her mom had so much guilt over it that she put that guilt onto her daughter. And it kind of was a big burden on Anneliese. And may have contributed to the things that she was seeing and the difficulties she's had around the religious objects. What do you think about this case? Was Anneliese possessed, or did she require better treatment from her doctors? Do you think she should have spoken to her doctors about her condition, what she was seeing, hearing, experiencing? Do you think they would have prescribed a different medication, maybe a stronger dose, maybe another medication on top of the medication she was taking? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if I was given this case as a doctor, I probably would have went for both types of treatment in this specific case. I probably would have had her undergo the religious treatment and the medical treatment, just because she was so religious and believed this so strongly that I think it was wrong to ignore it completely and just focus on the medical. What do you think? It's a very tragic story, and one that may not be as clear on who to blame for the death of Anneliese. Do you blame the priests? Do you blame the doctors? I actually blame both for this. And I blame the parents for putting such a big burden on their young child, and then it just kept escalating into her adulthood, her young adulthood. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Click that like and subscribe buttons to show your support for the channel. I greatly appreciate all of you. Next week, I will be discussing the Bell Witch and the true story behind that. If you don't want to miss those, hit that bell icon to never miss a video. If you don't want to wait until next week, check out my other videos on the screen. Take care until next time. Thanks so much. And I hope you enjoy your weekend.